Will today be the day the final edition Evo 10 finally starts up? I bought this car a few years ago, put it in storage. It sat and sat and sat until 2 weeks ago. I decided to pull it out of storage and completely rebuild the whole entire car. We had to replace from here all the way to here. I know you can't tell now that it's all painted, but trust me, all of that was replaced. Yesterday we got the motor and trans and the T-case back in the car. Today I'm kinda gunning for a first start. I don't know why we couldn't. We have all of these parts on this table here to install, these parts here, and these parts here. I think it is completely feasible to get a first start today. Of course, we need fluids. I do need to drain the fuel, get new fuel in it. We need engine oil, gear oil for the trans, oil in the T-case, AYC fluid, and then hopefully we'll get the first start. First thing I'm gonna work on is all the parts over here. We have ECU, some more wiring, the distribution block where all of these wires connect, shifter cables, heater core hoses, brake lines, so on and so forth. ECU is in, fusible link is in, shifter cables are on. Pretty much everything minus the airbox for this side, for the driver's side, is ready to go. I'm gonna take a little break from assembly and just get all of this stuff cleaned up real quick. Degrease, pressure wash, blow it off with compressed air. I keep having to stop assembling the car to clean apart and then put it on. It's not very efficient. So let's get everything cleaned up. So with all of those parts cleaned up, let's get back to assembly. We can start working on the passenger side of the vehicle. That's going to include AC lines, power steering lines, a little bit of wiring on this side, and then it's on to axles, fluids, all the fun stuff. Other than fluids, motor is essentially ready to run. Let's knock out all the stuff here. We got the lower cross member, front axles, coilovers, the drive shaft, hubs, knuckles, front brakes, and the oil cooler. Before you comment how crusty the brakes are, I know. Those will be redone. I just don't know what color we're doing the calipers yet. It's either keep them red but refinish them because the other one is really beat up, color matched octane blue, or yellow. Have yet to decide. Alrighty guys, we are finally ready to attempt the first start. So here are all the fluids for the build. T-case OEM gear oil, Redline cocktail for the trans, new oil filter, coolant, power steering, new spark plugs, and of course our VR1 1030 engine oil. So we have engine oil, trans, and T-case. All that's good to go. I'm not going to do anything with the radiator yet. Let's go ahead and attempt a first start. I have no idea if this motor runs, if it runs and knocks, if it runs and smokes. I've never heard it run in my life. I was told, of course, by the previous owner who wrecked this car that it ran, and of course it was running when it was wrecked. So that's what we got going for us. But the battery's dead. Let's hook up the jump pack and see what happens. So we have power. When you try to fire the car and crank it, it acts like the clutch pedal is not depressed when it is. So I'm gonna hook up the scan tool, see if it's throwing any obvious codes, maybe an immobilizer issue, but we have power. That's one step closer to hearing this thing run. This car only has 8 codes total, all in the airbag system, because we had to send in the passenger side seat belt to get repaired as well. Anyways, I figured out the problem. It was missing the starter relay out of that fuse box. Now let's give it a shot. Well, she sounds healthy, doesn't want to fire. I kind of spaced about new plugs, if I'm being honest. Let's pull these plugs out, see how they look, put new plugs in, try again. Well, it looks like it's time to just start narrowing it down. We need to check if we have spark. It sounds like we have compression. I'll check that anyway. And fuel. I'll probably start with fuel just because I know this car's been sitting for a little bit. I don't think it's long enough to have plugged anything up, but still, let's make sure we got fuel pressure. It's completely stock right now. No gauge on it, so we're gonna have to pull one of the lines to see if we're getting fuel pressure. Well, we got fuel, that's for sure. We had no spark. To each coil, you have a ground, you have a constant power, and you have a signal. Ground was good. Constant power we did not have, so I traced it back to a pulled pin on a connector. Now we have constant power, and now she should start. I'm not even gonna bother checking for spark because we should be good. Let's fire it up. What in the heck is this? This is the most quiet Evo I've ever heard in my life. She's got an exhaust on her too, but you can't hear anything. We're gonna have to fix that for sure. I think we can all appreciate how easy this thing just started though. One little issue, got that sorted. No check engine light. One little tiny issue. And she's alive, man. Wow. I'm a happy camper today. Man, oh man, I would love to go on the first drive right now, but there's a lot of things to take care of first. We need to set the fluid height on the trans and the T-case, check engine oil, bleed power steering, connect the steering column, bleed the AYC. We need coolant, bleed the brakes, bleed the clutch, maybe get a fender on so all of our wiring isn't exposed and dangling around. And then I think she'll be ready for the first drive. But I'm going to wrap today's video up right here. I hope you guys enjoyed. Man, oh man, I am enthralled with how easy the first start went on this car. This whole rebuild is going abnormally smooth. I guess that's what happens when you rebuild like 40 Evo 10s. You kind of get the hang of how everything goes. One pulled out pin, and that was it. That was the only issue with getting this thing fired up. Oh, I guess, and the missing relay was an issue as well. But that's a wrap. She now runs. She will be driving in tomorrow's video. I'm sure of that. Trans feels great. We just have all that random stuff to finish up, and we can go on a first drive. I am giving this car away. Every $3 you spend is one entry to win this thing. You only have about a week left to get entered before the winner is picked. First link down below. Anything on the website's eligible. Every $3 you spend is one entry to win this 2015 final edition Evo 10.